Hey, hello. Everybody hear me all right? This is a nightmare because my internet keeps dropping down to 5 and then 4, and the upload speed's only 3 meg, so I don't know how long we're going to last. But if everybody can hear me, that's a bonus. Excellent. Very loud. Sorry about that. I'll whisper a little bit. It's this this webcam that I picked up last weekend for next to no money, and it allows me to do live. It's not the best thing in the world. It only does 720, but I'll look at improving that in the future. Really, just getting it was just proof of concept that I could actually do it. I've just had to turn off access settings for the camera to everything else on the system because I don't know which one is capturing the camera. But it wasn't letting me do YouTube at all. So let's have a look who we've got. So we've got Mr. Radio Consort, Andy Beck, George, Northern Rambler. Hello, everybody. Yeah, this stream wasn't meant to be a stream. I was going to do a video. I'm just sat here, I've been sat here for the last hour and a half really trying to work this out with the internet speeds and everything. It's just been a nightmare. I thought it was just in the workshop at first, but it's not. Apparently it's the same. They were trying to watch something in the house as well, and I've checked the internet up there. I've reset the router and everything, and it was still playing up. So this is liable to drop out at any point. But yeah, easier than editing a video. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely no edits in this at all, unless the stream drops out. I am actually videoing this as well. So if the stream drops out, I should still be able to upload a video afterwards. Sean's in. Hey, welcome. I made it, but for how long? I don't know. Lighting's not ideal in here for it's the right way around. I'm guessing that's just how YouTube figures out the algorithms. And frozen. Is the audio still there? Let me just check the internet speed again then. Leave this where it is and come back to it later. And try and resolve. Is it back? Is it good? Are things moving? Yeah, I've turned everything else off. I've got a wired connection from the router now. Unusually, our router is upstairs, but I've got a cable coming off there that goes into a Wi-Fi plug. And I'm picking up Wi-Fi here in the workshop. I'm picking up the Wi-Fi at full strength, but the actual speed it's transmitting at the minute is far below what it should be. If it keeps dropping, I will leave the stream where it is. I'll just close it down and I'll have another go at this later. I just wanted to do the Hacker Consort, and I mean, it doesn't really matter whether I did it live or not. I just thought it might be nice in an unusual kind of way, because there aren't any, as far as I'm aware. I don't know, have you done a consort, Graham? Hi, Keith. There aren't any videos on these out there. This one is working, although it's not working at its best. If I know there's no battery in there at the minute. It's not working at its best, but there aren't any YouTube videos out there on it, and there isn't a specific schematic apart from in the 1980 RTVS book. So I just thought it'd be nice to actually put a video out there of what's inside one of these. I mean, this is the Hacker Consort. I think, Graham, you've got the Hacker Windsor, which is essentially the same radio, but it's in the tabletop case, isn't it? Yeah, it was not Hacker's finest moment. It was one of the last ones to roll off the production line. In fact, I think looking at the quality of this one, it was probably the very last one to roll off the production line. You know, there's bits and pieces missing off it, and the wave change, although it looks okay, it's a funny angle, and it's not quite straight. It's kind of leaning back. You probably won't pick that up there, but it's not where I would like it to be, at least. Yeah, there's no station markers on here. Don't have any for this. I think they're the same as the Harrier, and you got the last ones of those, Graham. So what I'll probably do whilst this is apart, whether it's now or later, is turn this piece around so that it's just a flat black rather than the raised lip for the station markers. It's also got a, what I think is a Hunter RP78A handle on it. Now, I do have a spare handle, but it needs work, and the handle that I've got is, I believe, original to this set. So if I just move that one out of the way, I've got that, which is the black one. It's essentially the same, but it's just a one-piece moulding. They look kind of identical, but this is 3 pieces. You've got both of the arms. Sorry. You've got both of the arms, and you've got the centerpiece. This is just a one-piece cast. They cheaped it out. Now somebody has etched their initials into the top, so that's going to have to get filled in, and probably the whole handle resprayed. But I think that the black handle is original to the Consort. I'm not entirely sure. I've not seen too many of them. I've never really had one of these before. Unusually for the Consort, well, unusually for any of the Hackers, they cheaped it out with the, I think it's kind of a plastic grill on the front. It's very pushy and bendy, and it's horrible. I'd really rather like to see, I think they just cheaped this out to look kind of like the Hacker Hunter, but in a plasticky cheap type of way. It's got the same feet on the bottom, although there's 4 as the Hunter, but we've got mains and battery. At the Consort, because there aren't any videos out there on it, and just to have a look inside and see what's what. I don't actually have the RTVS book here to hand either. That was a bit of an oversight, wasn't it? I might have to pop and get that, but I'll probably have a look inside anyway. Yeah, Graham on the other side of the camera today. Yeah, you're used to doing these, Graham. This is, I'm in my comfort zone here, but this is, yeah, I keep having to remember to look up at chat. It's not nice. Yeah, what would you try and fill it with, Sean? Because let me just grab the handle again, and I'll just bring that back in. I did actually smooth it down because they've used some sort of etching tool, and it's really dug into the alley. It's actually smooth now. You can't actually feel it when you rub your finger over that. I did think about filling it with paint, letting it cure, and then rubbing it down, possibly just with wire wool, just to flatten it off and see what it looked like. But I'm of the opinion that I'd really like to strip the whole of the top of the handle and just respray the lot, just so it looks, because that's a nasty piece of damage. I mean, whoever JB was, they really wanted to make sure that nobody else was going to get their hands on it. But I do have the Consort. You saw that maybe several months ago that I got in a job lot, and that has a black handle. So yeah, this black handle will probably end up on this one, because as sure as eggs are eggs, I'm pretty sure that this handle is a Hunter. Fits really rather well. Looks quite nice, but not quite right. Got the original aerial straight. Yeah, don't put it in the dishwasher. Yeah, I wouldn't think, to be honest, it'd do much damage. If you look at, if I lift that up, you know, the Hacker badge needs stripping completely and redoing. So if I did put it in the dishwasher, I don't think it could do much worse. I'll just make sure I don't put this top one in. But yeah, it's mains and battery. So I will pop a battery on it because I have been listening to this earlier. Just so you can have a listen before I start, just to prove that it worked before I started, because probably when I've done it, it won't work. That's how these live things work, isn't it? Try to get you in the middle. This is a nightmare because that's reversed.
Yeah, you've ignored that.
I'll try that in a minute.
Yeah.
I need to calm myself.
It is quite a nice set. Yes, they have cheaped it out and used the parts from all of the other radios. But because I've got the workshop computer on as well, that interferes with FM, so we're not going to pick an awful lot up on here.
It's perceived as bourgeois.
If I turn the computer off, then I'll be able to pick up more stations on FM, but the bass and the treble are quite nice. I'll just turn that off.
In the last 6 or 7 minutes, so what's your link?
It's all football I'm medium with during the day on a Saturday. Yeah, stations are there, and on long wave, just bob that aerial down, turn the set round. I think that's radio 4. Anyway, turned it off. So yeah, I really do want to take this apart and have a look inside, so let me have a look and catch up with what you lot's been talking about while I've been sipping. Very fine car body filler. I haven't got any, Graham, and I'd have to go out and buy some just specifically just to do that tiny bit of handle. So I'm going to have to find something else that might be suitable. What I've thought about doing is using some super glue to actually fill it in and then rub it down afterwards after it's set, and then spraying the entire handle. Just having a look back up chat, and while I'm having a look back up chat, I might as well start taking this to pieces, hadn't I? Mr. George will accuse me of not doing something. Yeah, another vote there for body filler, George. Like I say, the thing is I haven't got any, and I don't specifically want to just go out and get some just for that. It's not something I would use on anything else. I did used to have some, but I used that on Mrs. Cody's car a while ago. When she oh god, that was such a while ago. It was when she reversed into the drive gate. You know, we've had those gate posts, you know, ever since we've lived here, years and years and years, and it's never been a problem. But just that one day, she decided that she was going to hit them. I did manage to sort it out. Most of the damage was on plastic, so I just used a heat gun to pop it back out. Plastic filler. What sort of plastic filler, Sean? Again, using fillers isn't usually my thing. Actually, you're the expert at the minute, aren't you? Because you did a remarkable job on that 707 with that sliver that was missing. Can I speak in a Russian accent? Oh, here we go. I don't think I can, so I'm going to politely decline at this moment. I'll have a think about it. Epoxy resin. Yeah, I've got some epoxy. I actually got that out to give that a go, Sean. But I haven't had the minute to mix it up, and I just think it'd be quite a waste of mixing up just a bit of epoxy just to fill that in. Slow down, plenty of time for cap changing. Yeah, I don't know if I'll be changing any. They might be all right. They won't be. And if I do change them, they'll then the set won't work after I've done it, will it? Let's take the aerial out. Grab another screwdriver. They are long screwdriver. They are nicely made. The cabinet is nicely made, but you can't half tell that they have cheaped it out. You know, the teak ends, these, they're a lot thinner. You know, probably the wood didn't cost them as much if they bought it. And it's probably that there, it's probably half the thickness. And having never taken one of these apart before, I'm not entirely sure how this comes out. And they're tiny though. I haven't seen pins like that as clean as that for a while. Got a nice ELAC speaker in there. They must have had too many of them left when they built it. So I am just disconnecting everything inside. And the speaker's off. Zoom in or out, I apologise, but if there's anything super interesting to look at, I will lift it up so you can have a look and see. Yeah, full of Phillips caps, and we've got an IC there, TBA820, just on BC149s, kind of module, which I won't be dabbling with because it does work. Don't think, I'm just looking through the holes, I don't think there's anything super interesting in there that I really need to look at today. But it's just these standard caps, housekeeping caps, just those there that I want to have a look at. Let me have a look at chat anyway, because I keep forgetting that we've got chat as well, and I'm just rambling. Not in a northern way. Sing a song. This is payback, isn't it, Mr. Christopher? Because I'll forget that I'm on live into this. Let me just turn on the desolderer, so it might get a little bit noisy. It is quite a quiet fan since I addressed that. I just changed out the fan, and it runs a lot quieter. Can I fix an Xbox? Not as well as you can, George. PlayStation 6. Yeah. PlayStation 6. I have no idea about PlayStations. There probably isn't even a PlayStation 6, is there? I wouldn't know. I'm only guessing that they haven't got that far yet. But let me just make a list of the caps that I need to dig out. So, I need a 470. I really should go and get the book. I am just going to swap them all out anyway. They're easy enough to access. There's nothing tricky on the back of there at all. And just looking at the values of some of these caps, I might even have to put the posh ones in. 330s, nice. Picked up a load of those. But whether they'll physically fit, I don't know. You have an apple that needs fixing. It had one too many bites out of it. Yeah, cruncher at it, that's why it needs fixing. Goat free because of the flora on the bench. Yeah, I rehoused the goat to Devon, and the bush is flourishing. Everybody should have, every radio tech should have a bush on their bench. So what do I need? Shall I put the posh ones in? Just move the radio out of the way. Box full of Vishiers, which I'll just bob on one side for the moment. And I will do these just one by one. I will just tie up these battery leads so they don't get in the way, and the speaker leads, I might as well put those together as well. And where did I put my tape? I possess the goat, or does the goat possess you, Graham? It's a close call, isn't it? That thing doesn't deserve the posh caps, but it's the last of the hackers. Every radio deserves some attention. We must be doing quite well on the internet speed anyway, because it hasn't dropped off yet. George, you've got a bush on your bench. Dare I ask? No. No is the answer to that one. Right, so we've got the 470, and that's only 10 volts. And that's over there. Are we? Whoops, good to go. Let's try and make sure that you're actually in the picture, which is always helpful. Shall I test these as I pull them out? It's kind of tradition, isn't it? Wait till the end. But I can do them one by one. I can hear Cody's Junior playing outside. So at any moment I'm going to get a knock on the door that says he's broke something else. That doesn't want to come out. It'll be lead-free solder that they used, won't it? There we go. Because it was cheaper. Oh, hey, finally. So, we'll bring the sneaky peeky in. So this is a 470. 576. They all start to creep up, don't they? It's not a bush right away. Oh, what's that that's just ending now? Interesting. So, 470s. Fishy. Where are we on chat? I can't scroll up the chat now. Something's going on. Am I still live? So I'm just measuring in the middle. Doesn't want to go in, does it? Again, it's because I'm live. So many things to consider when you do these things live, isn't there? You know, I wasn't stressed at all the other day. I found it really quite comfortable. But because now I'm doing something, and I'll move my bush out of the way. Let me tip a wash. There we go. Oh, you don't want to flow, do you? Get some flux on it then. I always try not to. Sometimes it really just will not play. There we go, that's much better. Done. Save the capacitor legs for later. I'll save the capacitors for Sean. One radio on a chip. I think it is. I don't know too much about it. Let me know, because I don't actually know. "11 watches, no pressure." No, there isn't any pressure. It's fine. This live thing is easy. Piece of cake. I don't know what people stress about. Yes. Anyway, the next one. I'll trust that leg to be bent over. Means it's not going to play nice, doesn't it? Got ya. And yep, that one's bent over as well. Sometimes you can use the tip of the desolderer just to hook underneath the leg, and the heat will help you to bend the leg up rather than trying to lift it up afterwards. But obviously not in this case. They must have used some really special solder on these, because these really aren't coming out nicely. Let's try that again. Sorry, I keep having to look at the computer screen just to see if I'm still in shot. I am trying to keep it in shot, but I'm no expert. The first time live fixing from my own bench. Obviously, I did this courtesy of Graham previously at his bench, which was an experience. A very good one, but very eye-opening. So this cap is 100, also 10 volts. So a sneaky peeky at that one. See if we can get that one in. Stick some fresh electric glue to the old stuff, it will melt better. Yeah. Might have to do that. So this was 100. So 135. Again, it's not a bus ride out. That's why it was still working, I guess. So the 100 caps. Now I need to test these fishy 100s, because some of them were way out, and obviously they were brand new, but some of them were worse than that one that I've just taken out just now. It's fine. And scary comes to mind for what, Graham? This is just one of my things as well. I don't know if anybody's ever noticed, but when I'm putting the fishy caps in, I always like it to say fishy on the. All right. I'm just going to flux them up and then clean the board down after. I did say flux them up. If anybody wants to know, keep the capacitor legs. They might come in useful for the Man Cave's capacitor collection. cheap fake fishes. I did wonder because the if I grab some of the 150s just to show you, I think I segregated the worst of them. This is one of the 150s that I put on one side because next time I go back to CPC, I will mention it because they're not the cheapest things in the world. So this is a 150 fishy, allegedly, and it's 209. So I separated all those out just because I wasn't happy. You don't always seem to get what you pay for, even though they are brand new. So how long was it, George, until I changed the first cap? Were you counting? There we go. That one. Massive solder blob on this leg. And it isn't melting. So let's put some fresh electric glue on it. See if that helps. A little north in the shot. There we go. I'll try. I've got the camera that I've got. It's a fixed camera, so I can't really angle it anywhere. I mean, where I've got it, it's actually tire wrapped on, so it's definitely not mobile. It's a webcam, and it didn't seem to want to clip on to anything. But I'll try and remember to keep it a little bit further north for you, Sean. Still a bit south. How's that? Up there, right next to the bush. Tell you what, I'll move the bush. That'll give me some more room. Better for you? Oh, yeah, when I was live at yours, Graham, yeah. It was, I was a rabbit in the headlights then. I tended to just carry on with what I was doing and forgot, really, to say what I was doing at the time or to get it mentioned in chat. I'm just pretty glad that when I was there and I was doing my bit, that Mr. Mancave took over and did the running commentary. Yeah, that's all right, Sean. I appreciate that. Anyway, you know, obviously, when I'm sat here myself and I'm working on things, I have things kind of there. Really, I could do. Let's see if I can angle. Oh, I can. How's that for you? I do spoil you. To get that cap out of there. That one is still stuck in there. Never had such a problem getting solder off the board as with this set. Just cut the bend off. I'm going to test that one. That's only a baby, that one. 47. Whoops, slipped off. 65. So they're all going a little bit north, aren't they? So 47. And I've got some big 47s and some small 47s. I don't think a big one will fit in there. No, I'll have to draw a centre spot on the mat. Yeah, it's because I've moved it now. See, look at that. I kept it north for Sean and then forgot that I've actually moved the camera. So there we go. Negative, positive. didn't actually look at the orientation of that cap. This could go drastically wrong. This particular one isn't marked on the board. There is a marking on the board there. I don't know if you'll pick this up. Let me try and catch you. Where are we? In the right light. I can't pick it up. There's a marking on AB. That was a modification or an afterthought. But it's not there. It's never been there, so I'm not too bothered about it. Let's flux it up again. And I really am saying let's flux it up. It's nothing else, I do promise. Drop the iron. Still drop back through. There we go. Hold there. Stay on. Filled up. Not happy with that. Happier now. I'm never happy until I'm happy. Saving all these capacitor legs just for you, Sean. Resist a change in tropical fish. Recap. Yeah. Yeah, it's not a rambler, George. It's one thing I haven't actually looked at, isn't it? See if there are any cracks or anything on. Yeah, well. Right, the next one is this biggie in the middle. 10 volts. 1MO. Interesting. Anybody any ideas? There you go. Probably find out when I take it out. Possibly not. The desolderer stuck on there then. For this solder that's actually on there, it's not nice. Let's get some fresh glue on it. This is going to end up taking a lot longer than I thought, isn't it? There, that's got you. And where's the other one? Whoops. Got knotted up. The iron's fallen over. Sponges come out. More tricks up my sleeve than rod all, yeah. I wish I had a trick for this solder though. Absolutely no idea what's going on with that, but it really doesn't want to come off. Let's try the other leg. Gonna have to find a different plan of attack for this. I never had one with such problem. Right, when you push back through, yes you will. So I'll cut the end off. There, that's that side out. Getting all knotted up here. Just does not want to shift this solder. There we got you this time. We'll have to cut the end off of that one as well. There we go. So, let's measure that. So that one could go back in, but I'm not going to. I'll get one of the big fishes. The superior expensivos. Yeah, slowly catch a monkey, add some fresh solder. Yeah. I tried that with those last couple and it didn't want to play. Minus. Oh, I'm not happy with that. You wouldn't be able to read Vichy on it. Not that it'll ever matter to anybody, because probably whoever in future ends up with this set is never going to look inside. You know, we are the last of the famous international radio restorers. I think we are the last generation of people that will care about this sort of thing. I mean, there was something just recently, and I did put it on the Facebook group. I think it was Andy Beck. I think you put it up, didn't you, Andy? It'd be a really sad day when that happens. I always refer people to Mr. Spire's video about Dab the Truth. Have a look at it if you get a moment. You know, the power consumption is phenomenal compared to. So next one, yeah, use a proper sucker. Yeah, I've got one. I know what you mean, but I really should have got the schematic for this one. I just don't. Not a set that I'm super familiar with, nor will I ever be again. The last, I think, of the hackers that I'm going to be tending to, apart from recovering that Sovereign 2. Oops. Did that help? No, did it help? The solder's gone through the through hole. Bit like transistors. I've really got the shakes today. It isn't a nerves thing. Well, it probably is, actually. That was a bit easier. 220. Woohoo! I've got some of those. Where are we on chat? I do need to 370. Yeah, so we're on the high side on that one. But I don't have as many 220s in the fishes as I thought I had. Another trip to CPC at some point. And I'll be taking those 150s back with me as well with the receipt. This is going to be tight in there. Make sure I've got the polarity right. We're in. Get the sneaky peeky out of the way again. How are we doing on there? Calm down, we're all friends in the same community, but yeah. I'm calm, I'm alright. The shakes is something completely different. Yeah. And then we'll give it a test before we go any further and do any more. How are we doing on chat? I'm doing well. Yeah. Outwardly it might appear so. No, I'm fine. It's just remembering to keep looking up at the chat. I'm talking to myself, talking to you guys, and not actually checking up on chat. So where are we? Tracer. Yeah. Oh, because I do keep mentioning that quite a few times. And every time a competition comes up. There we go. Does get used, and those leads are something else, you know. So again, thank you to Doug for giving that as a prize. But yeah, fantastic piece of kit. Right. Yeah, 60% new dab. Do you think so? Really? It's like dab. You know, I've got dab in the car, but it's useless. Tracer. Yeah. I thought somebody. Right. So the next one. Where are we? There. Let's flux it up. See if that makes it any easier. Put some fresh glue on. Yeah, I think it is a different type of solder, this, that they've got on there, because it's not melding well with this leaded stuff that I use. Oh, I did pick up yet another roll of multi-core this week. I don't need any, but it is getting more expensive. So if you look for it like I do, and you see it sometimes as cheap as I do, grab it. The last one that I got, I've just lost a screw out of the desolder. It's just dropped there onto the bench. That'll be vibration. Oh yeah, we've gone wobbly. That's going to have to be a running repair. Try and lift that from the other side as I heat it, because this solder on this board, it is really, really stubborn. It is not. This desolderer, you normally just briefly press it and it's off. But it just ain't playing. Give me a bit of wipe. Yes, I really did say that. Even with the iron, I feel the cap getting red out on the other side. Okay, we'll go for plan C. It's not very often I do plan C. It's barely melting even with the iron, and I've just turned the iron up to over 400. It just is not playing. If I can get one side to move, we'll be fine. Okay, we'll do what we did with the other ones. We'll just cut the extreme end off each one. They're not bent over, but perhaps, I don't know, have they got some sort of barb on them that's stopping them coming through? Because that's just broke off now anyway. Take that end off. Yeah, it has got a bend right at the end of it, but she's out. Something wet on the bench there, that's probably flux. You and yours at full whack 480. Well, mine's normally about 340. I just turned it up. Oh yeah, that's bad. That is a 100. But the ESR is 7.8. Oh no! Now it's 142 and the ESR is 0.2. Wonder why that came up bad then first. Still high on the happy side. Lucky beggar. So that was 100. And how are we all doing? We have info. Set it to 1,000. Now with chat, then I may build a trace of them as mine to give away at some time. Could do with some boards being made up, but never tried the software. Yeah, you built your own tracer, didn't you? Was that a schematic from? Was it online, Graham? Read the Vishay caps. What, up in the list here, or just generally read up? So I do have some Nishikons as well in another one of those trays. The fish has just always looked good in hunters, but now I'm done with, almost done anyway, with Hacker. I shan't be doing the fishy treatment on many radios. So I may end up with a surplus of fishes, which may at some short point become available to the diehards amongst you. Right, just one more to go on this board, and then we'll give her a test just to see how she's doing, just to make sure that she still works and I haven't got any caps in the wrong way around, which I don't think I have, but you never know, do you? So we are that one and that one. It's going to be a git to get out, I can already tell. The good news is, anyway, when I'm usually doing these things, the air turns a funny shade of blue, and I'm really doing quite well today. Awful solder, these. Did they use something different, completely different in Bournemouth? Never come across one that is so tricky. Solder. It just ain't playing at all. Try and nip the end off of that one. I do like these snips. I've had these a good long while, the RS, but when they say flush, they really are flush. I've got some other flush cuts that are about 0.5 millimetre off the board, but these really are flush. Just try it with the iron while I've still got the temperature turned up. Grief. Right. That hasn't taken the solder off, but I have loosened the cap leg. So the end of the cap leg's coming off, and it's come out. That is a 2.2 or a 2U2. U2. Oh, I nearly did a song then. You might get one out of me yet. Or maybe some celebrity impressions. You off, Sean? Taxi for Mr. Man Cave restaurant book. Nice to see you all. Okay, I'll be there as soon as I can, Sean. Keep my plate warm. 2.2, that is 2.92. So, yeah, that one's all right. But just in keeping with everything else, we'll put a fishy in. It's quite sad, this, really, putting fishes in something like this. You know, I did want to, but I don't want to because they're expensive, and the consort. I don't know, is the consort a desirable set? Because it's, I never class them as rare, but they're harder to come by nowadays. So where are we? Plus. And I might have missed it in chat earlier. I think I did mention it. The Hacker Windsor, Graham, that you've got, isn't that the same radio as the consort? It's just the desktop version. Hey up, Spanky. I didn't see you sneaking in there. Good afternoon, good evening to you. Welcome to what is rapidly turning into the madness. And Graham's quite correct, you know. After I'd done the live in Devon, and again, you know, thank you to Graham and Mrs. Cruncher for putting us up. I did say I'd never do a live again, but hey, here I am. And like, again, I think it was Graham mentioned this as well earlier, it's a lot easier than editing. Yeah. There's all sorts of chances for all sorts of things to go wrong. So there's that board. Now, I know this, well, I will put it on the power supply. I've had this running on a battery before, but I've just recapped it. So just in case I've got something wrong, we'll limit it. Getting the leads in. And we'll give her a test. Just lift that just so I can get the clip lead on. And turn on the output. Make sure we're switched off. Yeah, nothing. That's because I'm not connected, am I? Da-da-da-da-da-da. I have to undo these. Take this tape off. Whoa, we're wrecking the joint now. Wasn't any current there. No, I've not got the speaker attached. It's just going to have to sit back in the case, isn't it, in a minute? There we go. Just make sure the output's back off from the power supply. And get the speaker connected back up. Forceps, please, nurse. Yep, that hasn't sat on there nicely. It's because I'm trying to put this together with it out of the case. And I'm doing it on video, so nothing's going to go right, is it? That's on. Try and make sure it's not just going to slip off. And we'll give her a test to see how we've gone so far, and then I might try and catch up with chat a little bit. So, turn the output back on. Does sound better already, that. Pull the aerial up.
But if I work harder in the short work week and automation is coming in, I want to get a piece of that.
At a number of clubs, actually.
Yeah, I spotted the cop. Thanks, George.
Players to have a say in what's happening. But in Europe, an owner gets insulted.
good enough for you, it's good enough for me. There we go. That already does sound better, and I've still got a world of caps to do. But I'm going to leave it there and just catch up with chat for a moment. Oh, let me scroll back up the list. I've missed a million, haven't I? Yeah, some very expensive caps going in there. Sean said, yeah, 4 goats bid. Yeah, I've just almost doubled the price of the radio, haven't I? Up in the chat. Yeah, I'll have to have a look at that. Who said what about Vish's, Graham? And Victor, yeah, you're heading to the NAS. Yeah. He's already at the NAS. Use some click leads. Yeah. Tropical fish. No, not today. I haven't got a bowl big enough to drop them into. Guppies. AS series of plus 50%. Yeah, there's still. I have my own feelings on the caps, but yeah, there we go. Anyway, that's it for doing today. I will perhaps jump on another live and finish doing the rest of the board. I have to cut this short because it's 1:45 tea time, and Mrs. Cody's will have my guts for garters because we've got a lovely duck today. She'll have my guts for garters if I am not available to sit at the table for tea at tea time. So I do have to cut it short. But the internet's held out, so I'm really quite pleased with that. And I've been on for 1 hour and 13 minutes. So I've broken my record. Yeah. Yeah, they do have a habit of going bad. They usually crack along one side. I have got some brand new old stock spares in all sorts of different tropical fish flavors. It's not often I change them. If they look physically all right, I tend to leave them. Yeah, thanks, Andy. I'm getting slightly more comfortable with this. I think the rabbit caught in the headlights moment for me was in Devon. I'd just completely closed up, and I just carried on and didn't speak and went all in on myself. But here I'm in my comfort zone, so it's a lot more comfortable to do it here. Yeah, they do split at the ends when you look at well, not when you look at them, but if you look at them. Like I'd said, usually on one side, sometimes on both. They just go dry and crack and need changing. And if you do try and take one out intact, invariably the leg always breaks away and breaks off the end anyway. I've replaced them with all sorts of different things in the past. As long as they work, and that's all I'm really interested in. But once this is completely recapped, hopefully the fishes, I'll have trebled the price of this radio. If you can't see the board, it doesn't really matter what caps you use as long as they're decent quality. Yeah, I do use Nishikons, and there's a few decent brand caps that I use. The fishes I got really for doing the hunters, because I did a test with the same hunter, but with and there is a sound difference. I never believed that would be true, but it actually is. So I got the fishes, hundreds of them left, not in all of the different capacities, but I've got hundreds of them left, and I'm just now trying to use them up. Normally, honestly, I would use the cheapest whatever I've got caps. It's like the 330 in that, but I could put a 220 and 100 in, or I could put in the 330s that I do have, and I have probably several hundred of those. They're axial as well, but I don't know what brand they are. It doesn't actually say, but they're the 330s. Picked these up at Goulburn. I think I paid a few quid for the bag full. But super useful, especially in axial. So need fire. And the finest AliExpress electrolytic capacitors. Yeah, I do use them myself in a lot of the sets that I do, you know, because nobody's going to look inside. A hunter, for instance, when I was going through the phase of doing the hunters, not quite as fiercely as Sean does them, take the back off to change the battery, and when you take the battery, when you take the back panel off, you can see inside, and they do look fantastic sets when they're recapped with Con and Rubicon and all the other cons. Butternut squash soup, nice. Yeah, as I say, I've got duck footy, and I really can't be late for that. I'm probably on the minutes now because I have to go and get scrubbed up and sat down at the table. Saturday tea. It's not as posh as Sunday, but she's going the extra mile today, treating us to duck. Yeah, the axials are more expensive really because there is less demand, I suppose. They're just not in common use, you know, apart from what we do, really. Everything is electrolytic standard cap, which with us and stand it up, and there'd be for it to go in there. There's no problem with changing it. This is just to keep it nice and neat and tidy. Using them cheap enough, I'll have them. Everybody seems to know now, and what I'm like when I go to the fairs, if there are bags of caps to be had, I'll buy them, you know, the whole lot. I won't just want one or two or a small bag of this or that or the other. If people have got bags of caps, I'll take them all. Particularly, obviously, if they're axial, because they are more expensive. You can swap some for Nishikon. You want some Vishes? Oh, it says my connection is unstable. They're trying to reconnect me. Am I still live? The clock's still running. Nobody uses them. So yeah, that's about right. So am I still live? The clock is still ticking, and but I've just had a warning that the stream health isn't so good. Let me move that out of the way anyway. I'll get that disconnected so that I can live in the next day or two. Well, I might do one tomorrow about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. What do people think about that? Yeah, Buffer City, I've got that as well. So it's probably a very appropriate time for me to call it a day on this live. Yeah, live still. It must be only just. I've just had the warning again. But yeah, the Hacker Consort 1978, I think it was, that this came out. So it was one of the last ones to roll out of the factory. And they've obviously repurposed the control knobs from several different sets. And the wave change, they're obviously the same as Robert's. The aerial, I'm quite interested in because that's very, very similar to a Hunter aerial. I'm not entirely sure whether it's exactly the same, but it looks like it would fit. Do it. Yeah, you'll go on it too when my stream drops out. Yeah, because my stream health at the minute, it's not. Keep getting the warning saying that the stream health's not good. and I should consider something or other. I missed it. To go in, it's a hell of a drive to get there, and Mr. and Mrs. Cruncher were perfect hosts, and I really enjoyed it. So thank you very much. Thought of anything to do for tomorrow yet? You could have a holiday with all the new streamers coming on. This is just a it's a just because I can type thing. It's a take it or leave it. It's a why don't I do this and show you guys what I'm doing when I do it. You know, I'm not going to be a persistent live stream, but I do have spare a thought for us viewers. We won't have any free time. I don't have enough time to catch up on the ones that I need to catch up on. Volves, what you want to see, Volves? You know, I've got this this Roberts up and coming. The Roberts RMB. That's a nice Volve set for you, George. You're been up and about for 2 hours then. Well, I'll have been up and about for 3 hours. I'll have been up and 5:30, and then probably back in about 9:30, 10 o'clock. Do the hunter-gatherer thing on a Sunday. Go and see what the only radio I did find last week was the Grundig Yacht Boy 400 that's got a poorly transistor in it, or I believe that's what it is. I don't want to buy a bucket load of those transistors. I can't actually remember what it is, but when I get one of those transistors, I might video that process. Takes you over an hour to set up. It took me longer than that today because of my internet. My internet speed, well, not just the speed, but the internet just kept dropping out. It was the same up at the house as well. But we got there, and I've managed it, so quite happy with that. Might see for the morning, George. You know me, always out doing the hunter-gatherer thing. When it's fairer weather, I tend to be able to fill up half a van. But when the weather is as terrible as it has been lately, there are many of the ones that I go to, because when the weather's fine, I usually go to 3 or 4 before I get home, and I've usually got half a van full by the time I get home. But when the weather's terrible, obviously, not so many people go out, and there's not so much to be had. You've seen some of the things that I've come back with. You know, I've come back with several Roberts sets, and the Selena, and White Ramblers, etc., etc. You know, they are out there and they're available to be had. You've just got to be a stalwart and get out there every Sunday, otherwise you know, you'll miss things, really. Is the stream still going, or is that it? Because I'm just about to call this a day anyway. We've totally keeled, have we? So has the stream ended? Or is it not so healthy? Let's check. Are we still connected? No. Oh, dear. Working but buffery. Yeah. It's just come up with the error message saying that the connection's unstable again. Please wait while we try and reconnect you. So I am going to call it a day there. Thanks very much for... Where are we? I'm looking the wrong way. If I move my thumbs right, they go left on my screen. I'm guessing it's there. Thanks very much for joining in. And have a look at the alignment on there as well, and get it as good as I can do. The case wants a little bit of work doing to it. The cheeks are fine, but the I'm not sure exactly what they've come. So thanks very much for watching, and I'll catch you in tomorrow's live stream, but not mine.